My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today we've got a good topic. This is one that is going to hit home for several of you who have reached out to me, and just also myself personally. I thought, you know what, I had to keep sharing some of this because it kind of baffles my mind how women treat other women, and I want to lean into this conversation because I think it's going to hit home for a lot more women who are desiring change with their body. They're wanting to see things differently, yet you keep getting pulled back. You keep feeling like you aren't making progress. You feel stuck. And there's a lot that goes into this. So today's podcast is titled Women, Standards, and Leveling Up. So why high achieving women feel stuck despite all the success in other areas of your life. And now here's where I'm coming from. And maybe you have experienced that things are going really, really well in your life and you're like waiting for the other shoe to drop, or you're waiting for something not so good to happen, or, you can't have it all, right? And I'm here to tell you there's so much abundance in this world. There's so much of you can have it all. And I think the journey to getting there is, a lesson in itself, or like 50 bajillion lessons. But here's what happens is we can feel stuck, and there's a lot of chatter that happens not only in our beautiful noggin, but also in other women all around us. And it's women who are not helping you level up. It's women saying, hey, it's okay to stay small. It's okay to be overweight, not take care of yourself. This just is what it is, Arin. We're perimenopausal, which P.S., I'm going to come back to this whole topic on perimenopause. This is just a time and space that we're in, just like menopause. Menopause just means, guess what? Menses has ceased, meaning you no longer have a menstrual cycle. Therefore, perimenopause is just a time and space of your life, okay? It doesn't mean we're perimenopausal. We all are, okay? Why don't I have certain symptoms and you do? Well, guess what? That's the difference in hormones, and a lot of it goes into what you're personally doing from a lifestyle perspective, and then potentially maybe you do need some hormone replacement therapy. And so anyways, huge side note, and I will come back to this. So why do women feel stuck despite their success? This is truly about the high standards that we have for our career, we have for our family and everyone else. But yet we don't do this for our health or our vitality, our identity. Many women just secretly normalize this feeling of exhaustion and brain fog, the weight struggles. Like, this is just part of life. This is just part of being perimenopausal. I'll use that word again, instead of truly holding ourselves to a higher standard of well-being. Like, we should say, hey, I want all my clothes to fit. I want to walk in the room, heads turn. I want women to say, dang girl, you work out. Like, hey girl, what are you doing? Like, we want this feeling, yet so many of us have lowered our standards, just saying, I'm 40 plus. This is what it is. I'm 50, oh gosh, Arin, I'm not in my 20s anymore. Well, yeah, but neither am I. And I'm no different. I just knew how to put together all the pieces. And that's what I want to help coach and teach you personally, because you're settling. And there's an invisible cost that people don't talk about when we just normalize having lower standards. Now, I'm probably throwing stones here and it's probably rubbing some of you guys the wrong way, but there's a reason you're listening to this podcast, because I want to install in you this belief that, hey girl, you can actually have what you want and then some with your body, your career, your marriage, your finances. It's all possible. And for whatever reason, society has taught us that, hey, it's normal to struggle. It's normal to not feel good in your own skin. So we accept that we're just in survival mode. And this baseline truly robs us of feeling confident, having intimacy, being happy on a daily basis, having energy. And here's the deal. When you tolerate less for yourself, you unconsciously teach others to expect less from you as well. I know that one's going to sting a bit, because when we tolerate less for ourselves, we unconsciously teach others to expect less of you too. Now, again, throwing stones, this means it's impacting yourself. It's impacting your spouse. It's impacting your kids. Your kids are seeing that it's okay to have lower standards. It's okay to be overweight. It's okay to eat junk food. It's okay to eat our feelings, our emotions. And trust me, I am by no means parenting perfect over here and working through a multitude of things, helping grow and shape our kids. And listen, I make mistakes all day, every day. So before you guys think I'm over here like perfectly parenting, I'm figuring it out too. So the moment we raise our standards, you know what's going to happen. Resistance shows up. And I talk to women on a daily basis about this. It's like, hey, expect the resistance when you go down this health, this wellness journey, because here's what other women may subtly or not so subtly say to you. I've experienced all of it. So I will share this because I think it's important for you to understand that women are going to say to you, especially when you're leveling up in your health. I think like career and things like that, I think that has another space, especially for women, right? Because women, like, we have to wear these dual hats of like taking care of the house, the kids, getting the groceries, doing all these certain things. And yet then we've got this demanding career, this success, and we're trying to do all of these things all at once. And so here's what happens when you're kicking buns in your career, when you're buying certain cars. Women are going to say things like, oh, must be nice, or, well, if you can afford it, right? Or let's just say you outsource some help, you got a nanny, or you hired a housekeeper. You know how many women like, oh, must be nice, and it's not in this like, hey girl, that's awesome. Like, dang, I need to figure out how to do that too. The same thing happens with your body. So many women will say these words. They will say, oh, you don't need to lose weight. You're fine. And it's like, what? No, if you desire to look another way, like, why are we settling for fine? Or it must be nice to have time to work out, time to prep your food. And I'm here to tell you is like, we all get 24 hours in a day, yet some of us figure it out and some of us don't. Or here's another one. Don't you think you're being selfish? Like, what? Why? We would never say that to a guy. If a guy took time to go work out and take care of himself, like, you wouldn't say that. Like, why wouldn't we want people to be healthy? So it isn't about you. It's about the other person's fear of being maybe left behind. And there's more to this. So I want to speak into like almost the psychology of why other women put women down. And I want to know, do you guys relate to this? Like, have you experienced this? Because change threatens people who are not ready to change themselves. When you level up, you're holding a mirror, and that mirror forces other people to confront their standards or their lack of standards. And many will unconsciously try to drag you down so that they feel safe, that, hey, where I'm at, it's okay. See, if I hadn't seen other women in this industry, and especially women who are 40, 50, some of these women that I look up to are more doctors in this space, and I see them 40 plus, 45, 50, and I see how good of shape they were in. And I was like, man, I can do that. Like, I can do that too. And it was very motivating for me. And that's something that I'm hoping and praying that I'm giving off to other women, that it's like, hey, you can look like this. Like, I am not anything special. I just chose to do the work. And I chose to do the work when I really didn't want to. I didn't blame my hormones. My hormones were a hot mess for the first 3 months that I really dug into this. Doesn't mean I went out and got on HRT, but here's the thing. I was lined up with my doctor that if I needed it, cool, that's what we were going to do, but we were going to give my body some time to kind of figure it out on its own. And I think there's a really, really important lesson there. So no shame to the game, do what's best for you. But I think so many times in a weight loss journey, we blame our hormones when in reality, we're doing a lot of things to really disrupt our hormones. The other thing that I want to do is I want to share with you guys, I was very public about sharing my transformation story. It's on my social media if you haven't peeked at that. And I got a lot of hey girl, good job, awesome, good stuff. But it was amazing how many people private messaged me. There was amazing how many people told me my middle picture looked better, which in reality, I actually was not very healthy. I have all the numbers to prove how inflamed I was, how my cortisol was too high. My cholesterol was completely out of whack. So there you go. Cool. You think that was healthy. Well, guess what? That actually wasn't. And I have the receipts to even show from a health biomarker standpoint, meaning my blood work, I'm in a way, way better place. Plus just, girl, how I feel, how I look, clothes fit different. But here's me dealing with these comments. I think the worst of them all was, hey, you look like you have an eating disorder. And I was like, wow, that is really tough language. That's not cool. Okay, so we move on from that. Well, I was just at a conference and I had a woman who was similar height. She's probably about 10 or more years younger than me. And she made a comment saying, I hate standing next to women like you. It makes me feel, and I kind of blurred out the rest of it. And I was like, what in the world is she talking about? And she was like, comparing our look, and what she needed to understand was our bone structure is different, how she puts on muscle mass versus myself. Right now, all I want to do is get bigger. That is really important to me. And it's a look that I'm looking to create. The interesting thing about my body, and I know this, is I have more fast or slow twitch muscle fiber. Therefore, it takes a lot more for me from a genetic standpoint to put muscle mass on. And just being genuine, for most women, it does take more time for us to put muscle mass on. So it's completely different structures. The other thing too, just to note about myself, when a lot of people meet me in person, they're like, God, I had no clue how little or petite you are. And I am. I'm not a big bone structure. My family is not a big bone structure. And it takes a lot for me to put on any size, any muscle mass. And so it was just this interesting conversation that I was having with another woman. And funny enough, there were two other women that were standing in the conversation, and it just got really uncomfortable. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe a person who supports other women out there is actually saying this. But again, this is just more the unconscious mind and someone saying something so that they can feel safe, that they can justify where they're at. And I think, women who are in this space, we're probably going to judge our bodies harder just because this is what we do. It's in our face all day long. And so what's interesting is I just shared with her my body fat percentage, and that quickly clued her in that, hey, I'm just leaner than you. That's a lot of it, but you're also a wider structure and you have more muscle mass. So for me, it kind of jarred me again. And I'm like, man, I got to work on this. This is something that is showing up way too many times. What's the lesson? What do I need to learn learn from this, because we have to reframe the resistance that we feel. See, when other people push back, it's more of a confirmation that you're actually on the right path. And not everyone is going to be meant to go where you're going to go, and it's okay. But I think for me personally, I'm like, I want every woman to feel what I feel. I want every woman to feel what it feels like to put on jeans and like everything fits, or every outfit looks right. Like you're not tugging at it, pulling, tying something around, putting a sweater on. Like no, it just looks so good. And so true friends and aligned women, I want to call it more aligned women, will cheer for your growth. Okay. They're not here to compete with it. If anything, you are inspired. You see another woman winning, guess what? You want to win too. And that's a really, really good thing. So we need to raise our standards. This is me coming out as a woman in this space, but it's truly from a feeling of leadership. I am here to lead women, that when you say, hey, I'm not cool with mediocrity, I want better for my body, for my health, for my mindset, I'm giving you permission to go for the things that you want, because I was willing to do it for myself. And I'm also willing to talk about it, because we need to stop pulling women down. We're here to lift women up. So I want all the women listening to this right now is stop playing small. I want you to start becoming the example of what is absolutely possible for you, possibly for your girlfriends, possibly for your kiddos, your daughters. And I want you to show people that, hey, it is worth the time and effort. And guess what? You can do it too. So some key takeaways that I want you to take away from this message here is leveling up, whether it's in your body, your career, your finances, your relationships, it's going to test other relationships. But the right people are going to rise with you. Don't lower your standards to make others uncomfortable or to make others comfortable. Set a higher bar. Then just watch your life change. I can tell you that everything in my life is changing for the better because I chose to truly dig in and to stop playing victim. Just to be completely transparent, I was being very victim mindset of like, oh, I'm 42, I can't do this, blah, 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 hormones this, hormones that. Trust me, I fell in that trap too. But once I really started educating myself a bit more and really just doing what I coach and teach in my program, it was like, hey, Arin, guess what? All this stuff works. I think I said a whole lot of other words. So the moment you raise your standards, you will discover who's cheering for you and who's hoping you stay stuck. So let's give them something to talk about, ladies, and let's go after it and get after it. All right, take care.